morning and welcome to the morning show with Angel and Tina and our fabulous guest in the studio with us today. Tina, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. I love this girl.
I know.
every time she is on the morning show, I just laugh and giggle, and I just remember the day that I met her, and it was like this God ordained thing. And then her and I like seeing each other in Vegas. It's just so like the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, I posted it that we met, and everybody's like, "Ah, I can't believe you know Courtney," and it was just like this big, huge God ordained thing. So welcome, Courtney Epps, in the house, in our virtual studio today.
Thank you. We almost have known each other a year now. That was a year
Right.
ago. Seems like it was like 5 years ago.
So like next week, I'm sure that memory is going to come up on Facebook, and I'll make sure to post it. We literally met in the Charlotte airport early in the morning, and like we were just sitting there like in the same row, and you know, things happen, you know, flights were getting delayed.
Don't sugarcoat. I mean, I think that not everybody knows this story. So
so we were in the Charlotte airport. She had her whole family there, and I was like, oh my God, that girl has a lot of kids. And they were like, you know, bam, 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 but they were so good. Everybody had their own laptop, their own, you know, computers, their own this. And her husband's like, I'm going to go, you know, take the kids to get something to eat. She's like, okay, well, I got to get some stuff done. You just go take the kids to get something. And she was like, here. And I was like, I wonder what she does. Like just sitting there, you know, by yourself. And I'm by myself. And then she gets up and she's like, and I'm like, do you need to go to the bathroom? And she goes, yes.
You asked, hold on. You asked a complete stranger in the airport.
She had that look. She had that look like, oh man, I got to go to the bathroom and all their stuff is all over here. And I said, do you have to go to the bathroom? And she goes, yes. And I said, I watched it. And she goes, oh my God, thank you so much. So she like ran to the bathroom. She came back. I went to the bathroom, came back. And I said, oh my gosh, our flight got delayed again. And she's like, I know, this is just killing me. It was like the second time. Like they kept saying, okay, a half an hour. And then now it's like an hour and a half. And she was like, I have to speak tonight at 7 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, you're a speaker. And she goes, yeah, I'm speaking at the Eric Worre event. Do you know, this event, you know, Eric Worre's event. I'm like, I know Eric. And she goes, you do? And she was like, I'm speaking like at 7 o'clock tonight or like 4 o'clock. And I was like, oh my God. I said, it's a 5-hour flight. And she goes, I got to get another flight. And so her husband came back and she's like booking another flight. She's like, I'm just going to have to book a flight. You guys are going to stay here. And so her husband I said, look, I'll watch the kids. Her husband walked her down way on the other side of the airport, of course. And then they said, okay, our plane is here. I'm like, oh my gosh, get your mom on the phone. What's your mom's number? I'm like, come back. And so her and her husband, I'm seeing right down the thing. And to top it all off, we were trying to get her box of flyers off of the plane so she can take them with her. And the lady was like, do you know what they look like? And I'm like, I have no idea, but I know that they're in a box. It's not like luggage or anything like that, but it's in a box. Her name is Courtney Epps. Last name, you know, and I was sitting there trying to tell the TSA people, you know, what the box looks like. I'm like, but don't wait, hold on. Don't get the box yet. Keep the box here. She's running back. And it was just so, like, the whole thing was hilarious. And we get to Vegas and she comes running over. She's like, look what Tony Robbins just posted about me. And it was about her on Tony Robbins, like, and that's where her whole life completely changed. And I was like, I said, we gotta take a picture. And I took a picture together in the Las Vegas airport and I posted it. And all my friends here in Charlotte, like from all over the world, are like, I can't believe you know Courtney Epps. I'm like, what? Who is this girl?
I love it. That was such an upsetting day. That was such an upsetting day for me. I was freaking out and I ended up booking 2 flights that I paid for that
and never got a refund back, right?
No, I did not. So it was just like, you know what? Cough that up to at least we got on the plane. I was able to speak. I was literally made it within 30 minutes because I had to get ready and everything else. So it, you know, it all worked out, but I was so upset because I was going to have to leave the kids and then not be there. I will never, ever book a flight on Frontier. I learned my lesson that you never book a flight with a small airline if you're trying to get somewhere, because there was just no.
And another thing too is she had this big, huge thing planned for the kids. Like when they got to Vegas, like they got a big suite in Vegas. They had a limo waiting for them. Like she wanted to show the kids like the whole kid, bang in Vegas. And she was like, now they can't do it. And so how disappointing that would have been if you planned all of these things for your kids and then you can't do it.
Not spoken to 10,000 people. That was, it was my largest speaking event, and I decided to go cheap. Like, yeah, it's just ridiculous, the things that I thought a year ago compared to where we are now. I mean, it's just a lesson, that you learn. And one of the things that's really good is that when other people experience it, like you can take what I'm sharing and my bad experience, and you don't have to have that experience. And hopefully that's the goal.
And I don't know if you know this, Courtney, but so I had Courtney on the show earlier this year, and I introduced her to Angel, and then she started working with Angel. And then she was getting interviewed. Okay, so Angel, I don't even think you know this whole thing. She was getting interviewed by Taylor Thompson. And so I go on there and I'm watching her and I'm like, oh, I love this girl. So I reach out to Taylor and I'm like, hey, I would love to have you on our morning show. Can you tell me about yourself and this and that? And we ended up talking for like 3 hours. And then Taylor introduced us to like this big, huge world. So Courtney, me and you meeting last year has helped catapult the Angel and Tina morning show.
Wow.
Completely.
Wow.
Because I met you, I brought you on the show, I introduced you to Angel, you were on Taylor's, and so I wanted to watch you getting interviewed on Taylor's show. And I was like, oh, I love this girl. And I ended up going on to Taylor. And then we got Michelle Cunningham and all of, Julie Burke and all of these people because of the She Network.
And it's crazy is that I didn't know what Angel did. And Taylor is the one that actually said, well, you need to use my PR person. And I'm like, who is that? And she's like, Angel. And I'm like, I know somebody named Angel. And turns out
I know her.
Person. Like it's all come full circle. It's so crazy. It's so crazy how many people like that we are connected with and we don't know what they do. And, and that has been one of the greatest things for me is to be able to, just not necessarily, right now but for later on, when somebody types in Courtney Epps, like they can see I've been on the news, I've been on these news stations, and I've been in magazines and all these crazy things. And it didn't cost me a whole lot of money. And it now gave me an even higher stance on where I'm at and create that visibility so that we can bring in more traffic, we can create more visibility, we can help more people. It works in our mission. So that's nuts. I did not know that story. So
yeah, I mean, it's so, and then, when I found you on Facebook, you're like, look me up on Facebook. And I was like, we have like 100 and something mutual friends. Yeah. And I'm like, how do you know Esther? And how do you know these people? Like, these are people that I've known for 10 years through eWomen Network. And I was just like flabbergasted that it was God ordained, definitely. And like the like the whole way, I'm like, oh, you know what? I met her. How did I meet you? And then I was like, oh, I think I met you through here. And then Taylor and I were just talking, and she was like, and then you reached out to me, and that's something that I usually do. And we had like a 3-hour conversation. She's like, oh my God, I love you. And so now we're working with Taylor. Now we're working with Michelle Cunningham. Now we're working with Sarah Zalek, like all these people because of that one meeting. It might have happened.
She asked you boldly if you had to go potty.
Because she had that look, that look when you're a woman and you got like 1,000 things. I mean, all her kids went with their husband, and every one of them left all of their stuff.
They left all their stuff.
Well, and she like stood up and she was like, oh.
Well, Tina, thank you for being so bold and infusing yourself into Courtney's, what was looking like it was going to turn into one of those very, very bad, awful days. But I love that it's like almost exactly 1 year in your anniversary of meeting. That was such a pivotal point for you, a transformation, like the association, the opportunities, and some of the doors that were open to you. And now a year later, right before we were going live, I had to hush Courtney, which I hate doing because I love listening to her. I just love her story. But it's like, let's go live and make sure that we share all of this excitement with our audience and not just keep it to ourselves.
It really does have a huge story and a huge mission. And in fact, Angel and I use your story all the time to show people that all it takes is for you to be passionate about something and let those people know. And then they're going to be like, you know what? I don't care what you're doing. I want to work with you because I want to help those people. Yeah. So Courtney, tell us, everybody knows Courtney Epps, but for those people who don't know you, tell us who you are and what this big, huge mission is of yours that has just blown up and you are able to help so many people.
So, I'm an accountant. That's what, I guess you would call me, but I like to call myself a tax strategist. I've been an accountant for the last 19 years. I have a full service accounting firm here in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm an international speaker. I speak for Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Eric Worre, as well as I'm an author. So I've written 2 books. One is called More Relaxing, Less Taxing, Why You'd Be Brain Dead Not Own a Business. And the other is called What's Your Plan B? Why You'd Be Brain Dead Not Own a Home-Based Business. So, my focus is not, I hate taxes. I hate accounting. Like, it is not something that I ever wanted to do. It was actually, I fell in love when I was young. When I was 17, I told my parents when I was supposed to be going to college at Charleston at the age of 18, and I was going to become a doctor and anesthesiologist. And I decided that, my husband, he became my husband, and he told me that he could not be with me if I left. And so I decided not to leave. About 2 months before I was supposed to get my full ride at college Charleston, I was going to be a doctor. And honestly, accounting to me, the only reason, I was really good at math, and it was the highest paying career that I could get going to Coastal at the college that I was close to. So I said, well, that's what I'll do. And I hated it for a really long time. And about 4 years ago when I showed up, which I guess, 3 years ago, I showed up to a Tony Robbins event, June 2017. And I realized that I had such a superpower that I developed a way to free up money that most people never even thought possible. And the only reason I showed up to that Tony Robbins event, thank God I did, was because I'd been involved in network marketing. So my parents got me involved in network marketing about 6 years ago, and I fell in love with the aspect of it that I could help people not only free up money, but I could help them keep more money. And the only reason I showed up in network marketing is because 10 years ago, I lost my business and the guy I sold it to stopped paying me. And I was $250,000 in debt and I lost everything. And I had small children that I had to provide for, and I had to figure out a way. So that led me to that Tony Robbins event, getting involved in network marketing, seeing what I could do to help people free up money. I love that aspect, but I hated accounting still. And so when I showed up in that room, I realized the reason why I hated accounting is because I was scared to death to fail. I was scared to be a professional again. I didn't have a website. I didn't have business cards. I want
to stop you right there, because you didn't just go to this event at Tony Robbins. Like, he called you out, and like you literally stood up and Tony Robbins coached you right then and there.
But that was 2 years ago. So 3 years ago, I showed up and it was just a 4-hour, it wasn't even a Tony Robbins event. It was just an NAC event in Atlanta. And that moment, like just understanding that I'd been self-sabotaging myself because I was scared to fail, I had massive limiting beliefs because for one, I was scared to death if I made a wrong decision again, I would lose my business again. So what would be the point in starting over? And the fact that I put in 100 hours a week working for 3.5 years on a business that I wanted to give to my children. And because I was short on cash flow, I made a stupid decision to sell it and sold it to the wrong person. And on top of that, I didn't hire an attorney to review the documents. And so like literally he stole it from me. I mean, the mediator, when we got involved, he said, you know, why in the world didn't you have someone review it? And I said, because I didn't want anybody to look at my financials. I didn't want to feel like a failure. And so even though I had a friend who would have done it for me for free, who was a corporate attorney, I didn't want to give him the buy sell in my financials. Because one, he would have told me probably not to do it. And I was in a state that I felt like I needed to sell it. So that being said, limiting belief, self-sabotage, I was undervaluing myself. I was getting the wrong clients. And then on top of that, I was choosing to be depressed. And so I'd kind of shut down for about 6 weeks prior to going to that event. And it all shifted for me. And so 3 years ago in June, I had no monthly accounting clients. I only did taxes January through April, a handful of bookkeeping clients along the way. I was by myself because I was scared to death to hire employees. And I just felt like employees were not going to ever do what I wanted them to do. And they'd hurt me in the past. So I was done trying to hire people. And I hired an employee after that because I realized that was stupid. It would just be like going to a restaurant. Well, if you don't like the restaurant, if the restaurant doesn't work out, you're not going to go to a restaurant again. That made no sense. So it just like clicked. Maybe I should hire an employee, because the one thing that I was more scared of than anything in the world was getting sick again, because I had a lot of medical issues. And thank God I hired that employee. And now we have 20 plus employees. We have several subcontractors that work for us full time outside the office. We have over 2,500 clients. We will have another 10,000 clients next year. So we're massively growing and in that process. And, you know, it's just an amazing world. We've gone from $7,500 a month, which is what I was making June of 2017, to we made $48,000 yesterday. So that's our biggest day ever, but we're doing about $250,000 to $270,000 a month. And it's not tax season. That's the crazy thing. It's our largest day ever, and it's not tax season. There's no deadlines right now until April 15th. So pretty crazy.
Why do you think this is, I mean, I know you're a believer in God, and why do you think yesterday was your biggest day? What are some of the things that you think that you have done, and adding those employees too, but what are some of the things that you think that you have done to make that yesterday your biggest day, and it's not even tax season?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things for me is mindset, but it's not even just about that. I think when you start giving back and your focus is helping other people, God just provides for you in a way that you'd never even think possible. So, you know, we started 2.5 years ago. I showed up to my first Tony Robbins event, in a real Tony Robbins event, Business Mastery, August 2018. That shifted a lot, but 4 months prior, we'd started providing whole food, advanced immune support to children in need. And for a nonprofit, I just fell in love with what they were doing. I wanted to be a part of it. It was the only nonprofit in the world, still to this day, that provides non-synthetics. So synthetic, I'm sure everybody knows here, but synthetics kill children over time. Their body can absorb it, especially if it's for malnourished children. And so that was a huge passion of mine. I'd started taking those same products and was able to wipe out all of my medical issues. And I have a ton of them, or had a ton of them. And so I just fell in love with what they were doing. And I wanted to be able to do something different. I just didn't want to make money and free up money, because when your focus is money, you can't ever get any further. Like it really stunts people to a place that there's got to be a purpose, and you've got to have a purpose over your profit. And so that was my focus, is that I wanted to be able to do something, and I loved what they were doing. So I took that initiative and said, hey, how much does it cost me to provide nutrition to a child? You know, and the owner of the nonprofit said it was $2. And I'm like, so a day? No, it's $2 a month. You can provide advanced immune support. So you can keep children alive, medically fragile children and malnourished children alive for $2 a month, and reverse a lot of their issues that they're dealing with. And I'd seen this time after time in hundreds and hundreds of people, and I wanted to be able to be a part of that. So we started providing that nutrition for every dollar that we bring into our accounting practice. And now today, 2.5 years later, we're at 3.1 million servings of nutrition. We're providing 9,000 servings a day of advanced immune support to children in need.
Oh my, okay. You have to say that number again. That is amazing. Like, that is like dropping. And people are asking, how do I help? How do I help? How do I help? So you're going to have to tell these people how they can get involved and how they can go through you to do this too. But say that number again.
So 3.1, and we're close to 3.2. I haven't pulled the numbers today, but as of the
yeah, as of yesterday, you probably
yesterday was huge. And that's the thing. It's like every single day when you wake up and you have a mission, then everything shifts for you. It's not about making money, and it can't just be about making money. It has to be about helping create a purpose. And when you can do that, you can bring people together like nothing that I've ever seen. So, you know, we went from, I didn't have the money to start giving. I'll tell you that. And my nails look horrible, so I've not had a chance to go get them done. I have been on the road, and so don't judge me. But when we started April of 2018, it was 15,000 servings. So we were providing for about 500 children a month, 500 children every single day. We're providing that nutrition. And getting to a point now where it's, you know, 9,000, like I'm not stopping there. Every 6 seconds, a child dies of malnutrition. Every 6 seconds, 8,640 children die a day for $2 a month. We could all end that. We could eradicate childhood malnutrition. We could end suffering. We can end medically fragile children and provide them with advanced immune support so their body can fight against sickness and disease. And that's what we're doing.
And I want to pause right there too. She can end this. We could end child hunger. Like, it could absolutely.
What do you want for Christmas? What do you want? What would you like for world? You know, I would like world peace. I would like to end childhood hunger. She is doing it.
Yes.
We can do this together.
Yes. And that, I mean, that just shifts everything, you know. So my next goal is in 12 months is to go from a $2.5 million company. I was $200,000 company 2 years ago. We made $200,000 a year. We're at $2.5 million this year. We'll be at 20 million in the next 12 months. It is a necessity. It is not a want. It is not about money. We give away twice as much as we keep every single month. It is about, we have to end childhood malnutrition, and we can do that. So next year we'll be able to do 55,000 children a day if we hit 20 million. And then the goal is 5 years to be able to do 2 billion. That will eradicate childhood malnutrition. We can stop 6 million children dying a year from malnutrition. And we could all come together as business owners, and we could create even more purpose. And on top of that, we can do it so much faster. So even if I did it by myself and it took me 5 years to get to a $2 billion company, which I know that's going to happen because it's not about the money, it's about the purpose. If we did it in 2 years, if we all came together collectively and we provided for every dollar that we brought in, we provided a serving of advanced immune support, think of how many people do not have to die every single year. But it's not just children. It's anybody with any medical issue. We can reverse that. One of the great things, and I have to share this because it's super powerful. There's a doctor, Renee Hurty, that's actually doing a study right now. She owns a nonprofit called Dream for a Cure. And we are working with her at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, New York. And she says, and she's using the same product that we're providing to these children as an immunotherapy. And she said in the next 5 to 10 years, there will be no need in chemotherapy or radiation for this product. And then I'm working with a group in Nigeria, another nonprofit in Nigeria, that we're funding 100% of the nutrition for. It's 3 medical schools that we're providing, and we are going in, and we've had over 500 children reverse symptoms of anything involving sickle cell disease. So they're literally reversing back to normal human beings. They're going to school. They're not in pain. They're not bleeding to death. And so if we could take one disease and we could prove to this country that we could take a genetic disease that there's no cure for, there's nothing but pain medication, right? And blood transfusions. And we could take that and we could prove that we could impact millions and millions of lives, because they are 100,000 children under the age of 5 are dying every single year just to sickle cell disease alone. And we could impact that. We're not stopping the disease. We're not reversing the disease. What we're doing is allowing the immune system to be active so it can fight against all sickness and disease. And it doesn't matter what it is. So I'm super excited to be sharing that and helping people. So if you know anybody who's medically fragile, I don't care how old they are. They could be 0, they could be 99. I will provide the nutrition for them. I will work harder and I will make sure that they're taken care of, because I just want to get this into the hands of people that we can help, and we can all come together and make more money so we can help more people, so we can end suffering.
Make more money so you can help more people, so we can end suffering. And that is Courtney's mission. She's like, when I do better, I feed more children, right? When I do better, I save more children, right? This is her purpose over her, in her mission. We had Sarah Zalecki on earlier this week, and she's in network marketing, and she talked about the power of compound, right? Compound effort. Their company had their highest day ever, their entire group, their entire team. Courtney, they did $18 million in business in November. But it's from compound. Yeah. This is what you're doing. You're saying, I will do it, yeah, but we can get there faster when we get more companies on board, more small businesses on board to become these socially impactful businesses. And that's the impact that's the legacy, Courtney, that you are. That's kind
of like what we talk about: influencers influencing influencers. And that's what you're doing here. I mean, every day I see something different about you. In fact, a couple of months ago, you went down to Atlanta and you were awarded something, right? Like you got a doctorate.
Yes, I got an honorary doctorate, and the doctorate is here it is. I have it. So is a degree in, I'm a doctor of philosophy in Christian leadership and business. So whoever knew, I didn't realize.
Well, now you could say, Mom, remember that I told you I wanted to be a doctor? I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. Well, I'm a doctor. I'm just not an anesthesiologist.
Exactly. And then the same day, so what was cool, they called me and told me they were giving me a doctorate. And then I passed the 3rd exam for the enrolled agent exam. So I became an enrolled agent. So all of these, it's amazing what you can do when you allow God to lead.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Courtney. I thought that I had these amazing ideas. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I got this idea. This is awesome. And I realized it's God actually talking to me and sharing with me. And I'll just tell you, I don't know how many people on here believe in God or your focus is on God, but I'm telling you, when you start giving, God just starts opening the floodgates. Like, we didn't have the money to give at all. I remember giving the first, it was about $800 for 15,000 servings. And I remember that check would have bounced. And I remember telling Sam, like, can you hold the check for a week? And the next week, the IRS sent me $25,000 that I'd been waiting on for 3.5 years from a refund. And I was just like, man, that is insane. How did this just happen? And then the next month, it was 22,000 servings. We made more in May than we did in April, which is unheard of for an accounting practice. Accounting practices don't make more money outside of tax season than they do during tax season. And so we hit 22,000 servings. I remember it was about $1,300, something like that. And I gave that check and I didn't have the extra money because we were in the process. We just lost everything that we owned 3 years ago due to massive mold exposure. And on top of losing our stuff and living in a hotel for 45 days at $300.74 a day, thank God I had that employee because she kept everything going until I could get my memory back. And my clients would not drop us because I couldn't do their work. I couldn't even remember who they were. And then while we were waiting on all of our stuff to be remediated, our landlord sold everything that we owned. So, and then on top of that, while, you know, I told him my medical issues and this is what's going on with us, can you please help us and remediate this house and make sure it gets tested and remediated because I know there's mold here. Here's all my medical issues. He sued us and tried to evict us. And then the house was condemned. And so I was in the middle of a massive lawsuit. We didn't have the extra money. I was paying $5,000 a month to an attorney, but we gave anyway. I committed to giving. And so we were in the process of buying everything that we owned back. And guys, I filed bankruptcy now it's been almost 7 years ago. So I had no credit. I had to get a house. I had to buy all of our furniture over again. We had to buy new cars. We had to buy all new clothes. Everything had to start over. We lost it all. And then, so for us, it was a big deal to give that much money. So the next month it was 22,000 servings. We gave about $1,400. I gave that check. My husband's grandma called out of the blue and said, I want to give you guys $5,000 each. So she gave us that money, and that covered it. And then I'll tell you, the second biggest day in the history of OTB Tax was the day I started giving. I gave to Operation Underground Railroad. I gave them $25,000 on Tony Robbins' birthday on February 29th and committed that we would start providing all of the nutrition for every child that they've ever freed through sex trafficking because they are severely malnourished, and I wanted to help them. And then 2 days later, we made $28,000 that day. So I'm like, I told my husband was not happy. I'm like, oh, I found another nonprofit we're going to give to. And he's like, we're giving enough. We're giving the man a relief.
Can you stop giving our money away?
I didn't tell him, right? I just like, oh, well, it's too late. We already did it. It's like, how much did we give? And I said $25,000. And I'm in LA with my daughter. And he hung up on me. And when I got home, I'm like, I don't know why I feel this way, but I think God's going to give it right back to us. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, we're supposed to give and we're supposed to be a part of this. And it's going to bring man of relief to a household name. And so that was my whole mission, is like, if I could connect Operation Underground Railroad and man of relief, it would help elevate man of relief so we could help more people faster. And then what ended up happening is we got that because it was on a weekend. It was on a Saturday. And then Monday, we had $28,300 in the bank account. And I'm like, look at God. So I was able to come back home to my husband. I'm like, look at this email. Money
We got our money back. What did I tell you?
God gave it all right back. You just got to believe in God. And
there you go. We are talking with Courtney Epps today. We got to take a quick commercial break. But I want Courtney, when we come back, I want Courtney to tell us a few things, how she hires her children.
Yes.
Hires all 6, right? Or 7?
6.
6. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't mean to add another one. 6, 7's all the same after 2. How she hires her children to help her with her business. So we will be right back after this commercial break.
After this commercial break, yeah, Courtney is such an inspiring story for all of us. She's going to now teach you how to actually put more money back into your bank account using her tax tips that she hated for so long, but is now using to fund and eradicate child hunger. This is an amazing story. I'm super glad that Courtney is here today, but we want to say thank you to our sponsors of the Angel and Tina Morning Show. We are globally and digitally syndicated across all those streaming networks through the Zondra TV network. If you've got a content, if you've got a podcast, you do social media, you've got a YouTube channel, and you've ever thought about hosting your own TV show, check them out at Zondra TV Network by going to their website, beonztv.com. That's beonztv.com to schedule your affordable discovery call, right? How you can go and be digitally syndicated to become that household name. Thank you, Zondra TV, for being our award-winning producer and for being our syndication network. Bliss by the Lake Boutique is our clothing sponsor. They have all of their holiday and winter wardrobe on display. They ship to anywhere in the country. They do fashion shows and trunk shows every week on their social media channels, so follow them. And then Sonic VA is, if you feel like you are just too busy to get it all done, you need to hire a virtual assistant or even a team of VAs, go to sonicva.com. And when you mention the Angel and Tina Morning Show, they're going to give you a 10% discount off your first 40 hours of a VA service. That's sonicva.com, SONICVA.com. Sonic VA, Bliss by the Lake Boutique, and Zandra TV Network. Thank you so much for sponsoring our show. This is a turning point, I think, for so many people that are listening to you this morning, Courtney, that during this time of pandemic, during this time of trials and challenges, your business has blossomed. Your business has like accelerated.
Blossom is blew
like,
up.
Like compound, like, you know, what is that little number you have to put up in the, you know, in math, you had to put like the 3 and the to the power of 5, to the power of 10, like to the power of Courtney is, right? Because
the power of C.
Power of C. Courtney is leading the way. She has definitely leveled up. She is opening up doors, but you also teach some super fundamentals, Courtney, for how anybody, and I love your book, like, and I love you'd have to be brain dead, right? Not to own your own business. And what's your plan B? Because anybody can shift their economics around with the teachings that you provide, right?
Yes, yes. And I love, you know, I think, and I shared this morning on my Facebook. So I'd love to share this with you guys, just 5 tips on how to keep $5,000 to $50,000 in taxes between now and the end of the year. So I'll share those if that'll work, and that'll include hiring your kids as well. Is that good?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Great. So one of the things that I love to do, obviously we do these things called a tax strategy session, and the goal is to find money, and it first starts with missing deductions. Most people have no clue of the deductions that they're entitled to take by having a home-based business. So, you know, we typically go through those. The second thing is the structure. So a lot of businesses are structured improperly. They don't know, they've been given bad advice from an accountant. And I'll tell you, first and foremost, most accountants, CPAs, it doesn't really matter if they're tax preparers, they don't know the information I share with people. And it's not because we don't learn this stuff in college, I guess is what I'll share with you. I learned this stuff by being an entrepreneur. I learned this stuff by having a home-based business. I learned this stuff by just, you know, the School of Hard Knocks, and then reading books by CPAs and tax attorneys. But the thing is that the people who write the books don't prepare, and the people who prepare don't write the books, nor do they read them. So we're not, you know, the issue is that there's about a good 6-week period of tax season that we get consolidated in, and we have to prepare all these tax returns, and people think that we're supposed to save you money as a tax preparer. Well, tax preparers, that's not their job. And you actually sign an engagement letter every single year that says by your accountant that they prepared your tax return based upon the information that you provided, and it's your fault if the information is incorrect. So it has nothing to do with them, and preparers prepare based upon the information given. Strategists look at the issues and say, what's wrong with this? What are we missing? So it typically starts with deductions, missing deductions. And then the second thing is structure. So structure is super powerful. And then the third thing that we typically look at is that once you're structured properly, how much are you actually paying yourself in a paycheck? So the first thing I will tell you is, let's talk about structure, is having an LLC. The minute that you start making $1,000 a month, you should have an LLC. Now, what an LLC is a limited liability company. And for the most of you, if you're in, let's say, network marketing or affiliate marketing or whatever, you may not have started that way. Most legitimate businesses, like when you first start, if you're not in network marketing, the minute you become a business owner, you should have a limited liability company so that you can limit your liability. A lot of people start in the network marketing space or affiliate marketing with just their name personally because they don't think that they're going to necessarily make a lot of money, so they don't really focus on it. The problem is when you get to a certain point, you're massively overpaying in taxes if you don't make some shifts in structure. So an LLC is the first step. It changes nothing as far as taxes go. But here's the thing. When you have an LLC, you have the ability to treat it as either a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or you can treat it so an LLC is treated the exact same way as a sole proprietorship, a partnership. It's all either you have a partnership tax return that flows to your personal tax return, and you have to pay self-employment taxes of 15.3%. If you have a sole proprietorship or just an LLC that's treated as a sole proprietorship, every dollar you make in net income, you have to pay 15.3% of that in self-employment taxes plus federal and state taxes. So I explain. If I'm making, let's say, 100 grand on my business, I have the ability to write off $50,000 in tax deductions. What I'm left with is a net income of 50 grand. I would have to pay not only federal and state taxes on that money, if I'm an LLC, a partnership, or a sole proprietorship. So that 15.3% of the 50,000 is $7,650. So that's what I would pay on top of federal and state taxes. Now, here's the great part. Once you have an LLC and you start making more money, and I tell people once you get to a point where you're making $12,000 a year in net income, meaning after expenses, you need an S Corp election. We charge $250 for that, like super simple paperwork. We send it in. Now you're an S Corp election. You file a corporate tax return and a personal tax return. But here's the kicker. Here's the great part. You have the ability to bypass 80% of the self-employment taxes. So you have the $50,000, you pay yourself a paycheck of 20%, which is $10,000. And guess what? You don't have to pay self-employment taxes on anything but the $10,000, which is $1,500. So would you rather pay $7,650 in taxes, or would you rather pay $1,500 in taxes? Okay. So that's number one. All right. That's a huge deal. And it can almost cut your taxes in half if you're a sole proprietor. And a lot of times it does. The second thing that's very valuable between now and the end of the year. So guess what? The reason why I said you needed the LLC when you start making $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year in gross is because you have the ability to go back and treat the entire year as an S Corp election. So if you had an LLC January 1st, and you haven't done the paperwork to treat that as an S corporation, that's great. We can go backwards to January 1st and treat it that way. We can also go back 3 years and 75 days from the day that you have, from today, to treat your LLC as an S Corp. So if you overpaid in taxes, we can go back and get that money back. That's one, okay? Number two is an HRA, which is a health reimbursement account. If you get a health reimbursement account, what that does is that allows you the ability, it's not a health savings account, two completely different things. A health reimbursement account, they give you a debit card. You use that debit card for any medical bills, medical insurance, chiropractic, out-of-pocket, prescriptions, all of those can be included. Okay, here's the great part about it. A health reimbursement account is considered a fringe benefit, meaning that is 100% business tax deductible, instead of it hitting your itemized deductions. See, most people think I'm getting benefit from medical bills and medical insurance. No, you're not. At least 96% of you are not. And it's very limited if you are. And the reason why is because you have to go above 7.5% of your adjusted gross income in order to get $1 in medical bills. So if you make 100 grand, 7.5% of that would be $7,500. If you happen to have $10,000 in medical bills and medical insurance, you'd only get $2,500 of that. And that's if you went above the standard deduction. So most people have no clue you're not getting any benefit there. If you have more than $2,000 worth of medical bills or medical insurance, you need an HRA. And here's the great part. We can actually help you get one of those through a benefit administrator. And they will go backwards to January 1st. If you do it this month, they'll go backwards to January 1st. You can write off all of your medical insurance and then any medical bills that you have the month of December. And it's only going to cost you $200 for this year, which is crazy, which is also a tax deduction, by the way. So that's legal and professional fees. Number three, huge deal. We talked about having an S Corp election, having an LLC, then treating that LLC as an S Corp election. For tax purposes. What has to happen in that is only two things change, and we can help you do them. Is you have to have a corporate tax return instead of just a personal, so you'd have both. And then the second thing is payroll. So you have to pay yourself a payroll check. You can't just process it. You have to actually be on payroll, process payroll tax returns, all the hard stuff we can handle, okay? But most people, the majority of people, are overpaying themselves in a paycheck for this S corporation. I had one client just this earlier this week that overpaid $21,000 in self-employment taxes and $6,000 in something called a QBI deduction, which is the 20% of your net income from a business that you don't have to pay taxes on. So this can be a huge, huge deal and a game changer for people. The most I've been able to save someone by changing one thing, which is payroll. I adjusted the payroll for a client. It was $37,500 in 1 year that they overpaid in taxes through payroll taxes. And also the second thing was the 20% pass-through EFT deduction. So payroll should be 20% of your net income. Number 4, this is the easy one. Instead of telling you how to spend more money to save more money in taxes, which I'm fine with, if you want to buy a new car, that's great. If you buy a new car between now and the end of the year, you can take at least a $10,000 deduction on it, if not up to 100% of the vehicle between now and the end of the year. And the reason why is because there's something called a bonus depreciation that allows you to write off a vehicle over 6,000 gross vehicle weight, and you write off 100% of it up to your net income in your business when you buy the vehicle, the first year that you buy it. So that's a huge deal. But an easy thing is just to pay the bills that you owe in January or February in December. So instead of you spending more money, which I'm fine with if that's what you want to do, if you want to buy a new vehicle, I can talk to you about that and I can help you with it. Buy the vehicle, don't lease it. Okay, that's a big deal. But the second thing is just going ahead and paying for your coaching. And like Angel, you know, she can send me a bill and I'll go ahead and pay that this month. That's tax deductible for me for this year, right? So if I need to get rid of money, I'm going to send more money to Manor Relief, which is my nonprofit, because that is 100% tax deductible. The way that I give is very important because I give from a gross income level. I give 16% of every dollar that I make to 3 nonprofits. And so because of the way that I give from a gross income level, not from a net income level, that's 100% tax deductible. So I can give more money to my nonprofits. I can also provide, pay for coaching, pay for, you know, I'm a platinum partner with Tony Robbins. I could pay that up front. If you have travel coming up, and then go ahead and book your flights and your hotels and pay for them this month. You can pay for them with a credit card or you can pay for them with a bank account. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is when the payment processes. So what happens with us, I send out all my invoices next week. Our clients start paying them like crazy. December 31st, I spend my entire day trying to get rid of every dollar that anybody has paid me, right? Because that's the way it works. Like, we as business owners need to come together and help each other save more money in taxes so that we have the ability to then provide more to more people. Now that leaves me with the 5th thing, is hiring your kids. Because I could go on and on. I did a 2.5-hour talk on just year-end tax strategy last night. I'm doing one every Tuesday for the next 4 weeks. But hiring your kids is a huge deal. I have 6 kids, and I pay them $12,000 a year. And now I've actually given a percentage of my company off to my children. So I'm shifting income off of me and on to my children. So later on, as my business continues to grow, guess what? I don't have to worry about any sort of estate taxes, gift taxes, all that's taken care of because I'm giving them a percentage of ownership right now. And then from there, they're paying taxes on that income, which is much better than me paying taxes on the income at a higher tax bracket. The second thing is hiring them and paying them to do things you would get someone else to do. And you can literally, I have children who are, my daughter is out, she's 18. She works with me full time until she goes to Clemson in January. She's one of the greatest tax preparers that I have. One of my sons, Wells, goes with me to almost every event. I call him my personal assistant. You know, he helps me take pictures, videos, he talks to people. You know, I have children who scan paperwork for me. I have them help me with social media. My 6-year-old, she's the reason why so many people are in my More Relaxing, Less Taxing group. Because I'm like, baby girl, just hit this blue button. That's all you need.
She's like, okay.
at 6. I could pay her to do that. Well, what would you pay someone else to handle your social media? You can pay your children to do that. So they're expensive. Pay them, and then they pay for their stuff. So anything that's not a tax deduction for me, my children pay for it.
And then you can charge them rent because they live with you.
But rent, you would actually have to pay, you would have to pay taxes on rent. So you don't want to do it that way, but it could be meals. It could be, you know, they want a new video game. Okay, well, you work for me, and then you can buy the new video game. You can take us out to eat. If you want to go, like, if you want to go to Disney World, y'all are paying for it. We're not paying for it. Because for me, it's crazy for me to pay for it because I can't write that off as a tax deduction. I could technically bring it back in, but we're not, that's a different conversation. But my children would pay for things that we can't deduct. So instead of me having to get hit with taxes and so pay for it after tax dollars, they can pay for it. And then we can wipe out $72,000 a year minimum. Now I can pay them more than that. My daughter who works for me, she obviously gets paid full time, but you can pay them more than $12,000 a year. And what that's called, again, is income shifting. But the great part about it is that they're at a much lower tax bracket than you. And so if they're at a 10% tax bracket, if they had to pay money on that, and you're at a 35% tax bracket, every dollar you're giving them is 25%, is 25 cents that you're saving. So you can pay them $12,000 a year, no taxes. They don't have to pay taxes on it. It's a business tax deduction for you. You also, there's no FICA taxes, no federal, no state, and no unemployment taxes if they're under the age of 18. And then you can add back things like travel. You can take them with you to events, and you can pay for all of their travel. You can spend time with them on the front end or the back end. You can teach them what it takes to create responsibility and be a better human being. And then on top of that, their continuing education. Like I take my kids with me to every continuing education event that I do. So they're getting that. We're doing Date with Destiny this coming weekend here at the office with 10 people. And they're going to be with me every step of the way because they're getting what they need in order to be better human beings. And I need them to run this company one day. So anyway, those are my 5 tips.
When we met, you had just gotten back from Date with Destiny, you and your husband.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes, we did. The day before, we just got back from Date with Destiny. So now we're doing it again with the kids and some of our staff members. So
I took a lot of notes.
And one of the things, I guess I can add a bonus. If someone makes more than $400,000 a year in any income, we need to have a conversation about a conservation easement, because you can actually wipe out half of your taxes, if not more than that, by doing something called a conservation easement. And it's very, so let me just put it to you this way. You could take $50,000, put it into a fund that gives land to the government. It's a program. I don't do them. I have a friend of mine who's a fiduciary. He does them, but that $50,000 would equate to a $275,000 tax deduction for them, which would wipe out, you know, $150,000 worth of taxes, depending on your situation and what your tax bracket is. So you spend 50, you save 150, that's $100,000 swing. And then 3 years from now, you get 24% of the money that you put in back to do it again. So there's so many things that we could talk about legally, morally, and ethically to help people keep more of their money. So, but that would take
Courtney Epps part 2 on the Angel and Tina Morning Show.
Well, she's doing this event, or she's doing these presentations every Tuesday night. She has a book. She's got resources. Courtney, where do we follow up? What do you want? How do you want people to connect?
So the best way to get in touch with us is just, I'm going to put it in the chat, is just to text tax to 855-949-1829. And the reason why is that's going to give them a deduction spreadsheet that we've created over the last 16 years. It's going to give them access to find our books, access to all of my social media channels so they can be a part of that. And you'll also, if you're on any of my social media feeds, you'll see the link to book and be a part of the tax strategy webinar next Tuesday. So all of that's there. And they can access, if you want to book a tax strategy session with us between now and the end of the year, which I would highly recommend. The goal is to find you money now because I can't really help you in 2021 for 2020. It needs to be done right now so I can give you some ideas and tell you what to do so you can keep more of your money. So it'll also give you a link to book a $99 tax strategy session if you just text that number.
Well, this was amazing. This was brilliant. I was just thinking we need to repost this and reshare this because you're right. What you do now, you've got the last 30 days. Once the calendar hits over, we can't change what you did in 2020. And she just gave all of us
6
money
different tips that you can do right now in the next 30 days. And you have to do it right now in the next 30 days, but you can to save thousands.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, like sometimes like my husband, he's like, okay, Angel, like, percentage wise, we need to figure out like how much we're going to give. I'm like, it doesn't come from paper, honey. It comes from in here. Like you're going to get the download of what that amount should be, not from crunching numbers. It's going to come from inside and you'll know what that number is. And then let God, this is not our problem. That's, God will handle that on his end.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Courtney, this is amazing. You are dynamite. Of course, we should just have you back, as a regular because you're so giving. You're so inspiring, but really putting it back in perspective. Even though you crunch numbers and you deal with dollars and commas and all of that all day long, it's about the purpose. It's about the higher mission and it's about the calling. And when you keep your eye on the calling and the mission, then it self-funds itself.
She has such a huge passion for this. Like her whole passion, like when she was talking, I was like because you can just see the passion in her heart, and it definitely excludes from you. Like it comes from you.
Let's give that number one more time. So everybody
just posted it on there. So it's 855. Yep, I just posted it. 855-949-1829. Text the word tax to that number.
Yeah, TAX to 855-949-1829. Courtney, thanks so much for being with us this morning to give us an entire hour of your day. We are so grateful for you. Honored by your generosity and the tips. Go back, let's put this one on a flag. Go back and watch it. Tune in for her Tuesday night presentations. Save some money, make some differences, and go out and save the world because we can. As these socially impactful businesses, truly it's the small business that can make the biggest impact. I'm Angel Tessie. I am your media exposure specialist. Follow us on our Media Mastery Facebook group. We're doing the 100 days of entrepreneurs of reinvention, giving you hope, support, and encouragement every single day for the next 100 days. Media Mastery, and you can find me at my website, makeyourbigimpact.com. That's makeyourbigimpact.com.
I'm so grateful for you, Courtney. I'm Tina Torres, your client retention expert, otherwise known as the gratitude specialist. And if you're struggling with attracting the right clients, knowing how to connect to them, or even if you just don't know how to convert them into clients, I have a complimentary guide that I hope you grow your audience organically online and offline, connect and nurture those relationships authentically, and then take those relationships and turn them into paying clients. You can grab your free guide if you text the word connection to 26786. That is the word connection to 26786. We are Angel and Tina on the Angel and Tina Morning Show, where we come to you live every weekday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Courtney, thank you so much for being here, showing our audience all this amazing money that they can save. You have 30 days. You literally have 30 days from today, because remember, December is my birthday month. So you have 30 days from today. So go out, make sure you contact her so you guys can save thousands. We will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.